Hello, this is Mina and I'm gonna explain my assignment 3 for data science course at George Brown College. First of all, I import pandas as PD and read my CSV file named test, and then store my dataset on my DF. With the head function, we can see the first 5 rows of my dataset, and as you can see, there is no column name or a header for this dataset. And then so I assign my column in a variable and named ID, range, value, machine type, and zip code for header. And then here with name attribute, I replaced the column or header with these written names, and with this command we can see that now we have a header for our columns. And with this command, my dataset name and columns, you can see that the columns name changed to ID, range, value, machine type, and zip code. And the shape of this dataset is this one. That means 951 rows and 5 columns. And then I wrote my name and my student ID on top of my data set. And with this command, you can see the results. My name and student ID is here. And then with skip row and assign it to 1, you can see that this name is skipped and you cannot see it again. And then name my header again to the wanted names, ID, range, and so on. The type of my dataset, as you can see, is data frame. And then with 2 different comments, we can see the value columns with bracket and with dot notation, which I think that using the brackets is more object oriented style, because we can see that if the column name has 2 separate words like colors reported, we just can use brackets, and I think that the object-oriented style is using brackets. And the type of this column as expected is a series. And we cannot apply the dot notation for machine type and the zip codes. with concatenating machine type and zip code columns, we have a new series or columns named brand. You can see the results here, and also the new column which is named total here, which is created by multiplying the range and the value columns. And for question 12, using the head method, here is the result using the describe method with a parenthesis and then without it, and then also again the shape of my data set and the data type of every columns. And as I wrote here, my data set is a data frame type and is an object, so has some methods and attributes, and methods with parentheses like describe here and head here. They are methods, and without parentheses like data type and describe, there are some attributes. Method something like action, and attributes are some things like description. Here I renamed the column with header ID, replace it with my ID, and you can see the result that the ID changed to my ID. And then rename again, renamed this column with my ID, and at this time with in place attribute, and assign it to true. We can have it permanently, and permanently change to my ID, but above you can see that wasn't permanently changed. With this command and set option, we can see all the columns of my data set here. And then rename the columns name with the lower letters. You can see them here, and using in place, we can have these column names permanently, and with head method we can see the result here. They are changed to the lowercase. And then drop and deleting the total and brand columns, and with in place attribute, we can drop them permanently, and access means that we want to change the columns. That's here we want to drop them, and here they are gone. Also, here I dropped the 3 and 5 row. Axis means row. I want to drop and delete these rows permanently. You can see that the 3 and here the 5 row is gone. And then by sort values, you can see that I sort the value column here, and this is here is the another way, and using the bracket for sorting the value column and in ascending order, and then again sorting the value columns, but at this time sorting them permanently and in ascending order. Sort the range columns and the value columns in ascending order, and ascending order for range, and for value in descending. And then so I assigned here the true and false. False means that we don't want to sort the value columns in ascending order. Finding the rows that in a range column, I mean the range is between 250 and 350, finding just those rows, and again finding the above data, and at this time sorting them based on range columns and in ascending order. You can see the result. And then with the lock attribute, we can just show and see the ID and value columns that the range is between 250 and 350. And again, displaying the ID and value columns with lock attribute, which at this time the range is between these numbers, and the machine type is equal to the H letter. And then filtering the machine type columns with the Bayesian attribute, and just finding those that are equal to H, R, and X. And then finally the data of my data set and every columns. Here you can see them, and just select the data type, select those columns that their data type is equal to numeric. That here we have floats, and you can see the results. Thank you for listening to me.